Hi everyone. Today is the last day of this class. Okay, so this is the lecture 23 and this is the last day and congratulations. You have done this semester. You have survived this course. This semester is different. It's different to you and this is new to me as well. And thankfully, we have this figured out. And through this semester, I have observed some of you, and I see you started from knowing just a little bit of programming now, and you are able to do more than 100 lines of code. Well, I'm proud of you guys. Okay, so before we move on, let's talk about what is going to happen after today. So I have decided to change the project 4 into an ungraded test. Okay, so if you feel nervous or stressful that you feel that you have to do project 4 during this Thanksgiving break, no hurry and you don't have to worry about this. This is still a test I recommend you to do because this is the warm-up process for the final exam. And however, I believe it's not a good idea to force you to do something in the final week or during the Thanksgiving holiday. So enjoy yourself a little bit and try to put your time into other courses as well. But still, you want to spend some time to take a look on the Project 4 file, even though it's not there's no submission locker and it won't be graded. Well, you should still do that. Okay. And in addition, there will be another warm up coding exercise. Again, this is not graded, but this is another exercise to help you prepare for the final exam. Because the format of the final exam or the format of the project 4 is kind of different to what we have been doing in the daily exercises. Still you're doing nothing more than coding functions, but there's a big chunk of the testing code. So you have to get used to that, and you have to figure out how you can use of the results from the auto testing to help you to fix the errors. So this is the process you may want to spend some time and do a little bit more exercises. So the ungraded project 4 and plus one more coding exercise. Those two, they are both ungraded, but you want to spend some time working on that. And plus, for those tests, I'm gonna post my solution so you can take a look. Okay, and for the current class evaluation result, and then I don't see the result yet, but there is a 24 response rate. I want to see something higher, and as I promised, if the response rate is higher than 66%, and then I'm gonna drop two of the lowest daily exercise scores for every one of you. And then if you miss some of the flip grade participations, and then two of the miss flip grade participation will also be dropped. Okay, I believe this will help you guys a little bit in the final course score. Okay, in last lecture we talked about the dictionaries, and remember the dictionary will be a required topic for the final coding exam. Okay, so last lecture we talked about how we can create dictionaries and how we can add entries, or if there is already a key value pair, and then we can use of the existing key, and then we can change the value. Okay, and then there are some built-in methods. We can do the values, we can do the keys, and then we can also have the items. Okay, so today we will move on and talk a little more about the dictionaries. We are going to see the zip, and then we will talk a little bit more about the get method. We talk about the get method, but there is still a teeny tiny part of the get we haven't really covered yet. And then we will do one special case. That is, we are going to use the tuples as the indexes in a dictionary. We are going to see why we want to do that and how this can be done. Okay, let's see one example. Let's say, I have a fruit shop, and then I'm selling fruits, and then I have 430 apples, I have 312 bananas, I have 525 oranges, and then 217 pears. Okay, I want to put that into an inventory, and this inventory is a dictionary. Okay, so on this dictionary, I'm using the name of the fruits as the keys, and then how many of them are there in my inventory will be the values. So I created this inventory as a dictionary. And then say, well, if I want to delete the pairs as a key, and then the pairs and as a key and the corresponding value 217, they will both be deleted. And then if I want to print that, and you will see there's no pairs anymore. Okay, so let me just recreate the inventory, and now if I want to get the length, that is the length of the dictionary. So if I'm doing the length of a dictionary, I'm going to receive a 4 because there are a total of 4 key value pairs. Okay, and let's see. Well, if someone bought all of my pairs, okay, now the inventory of my pairs will become 0. So there's still an entry of the pairs, but the corresponding value to the key pair will be a 0. So I want to update the value of the key pairs to 0, and then this is how I can do this update. So if I want to do a print, I can still see the key pairs, and then the value will be a 0. And say I bought 200 more bananas, and then I put that also into my inventory, and then I can grab the current value of the key bananas, and then I add 200, and then I can do an update. So what is that? That is called a Inplace update, right? Because I'm grabbing the key bananas and then get the corresponding value. Add 200, and then I'm putting that into the same place. So I'm updating the value using the key bananas. So that's an in-place change. If we can do in-place changes on dictionary, what does this mean? This means the dictionaries in Python, they are mutable, right? So they are the dictionary is a mutable object. Okay. So well, now let's move on and let's talk about one new thing, that is a zip. So for a zip, well, the easiest way to understand this is if we have two sequences, and then we want to pair the index 0 on one sequence and then the index 0 on the other sequence, and then I want to put them together. So index 0 to index 0, index 1 to index 1, index 2 to index 2. Okay, so well, say if we have two lists, so we have the list 1, 64, 65, 34, and 56 and 43, and then we have another list of the characters A, B, C, D. Now I want to zip them together. So for the first two items on both sequences, 65 and A, I want to pair them together. And then for the second item, 34 and B, I want to pair them together. So well, now if we don't have to use a zip, we still know how to do that because we can use iterations. But now, how about we zip them together? So index 1 to index 0 to index 0, 1 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3. We want to do a zip like this. And after that, well, for each pair, they will be one tuple. So if we zip the list 1 and list 2, and then we are going to have a list of the tuples, and for each tuple that will be two corresponding values they put together into a tuple. Okay, so well, then I can do a iteration like this to visit all the zipped pairs. So for each pair of the x and y in the zipped L1 and L2, and then I can print y is x. So I'm putting two items together and then print them in pairs. Okay, well, another thing is, well, in the first example, you may see L1 and L2, they have the same length, so zipping them together should be easy. Okay, well, how about we have two or more sequences and then they don't really have the same length? What is going to happen? So in Python, the rule is as long as we run out of the items from one sequence, and then the whole zip will finish. Okay, so let's see this one. We are zipping a string, a tuple, and a list. Okay, and then if we are zipping, well, which one is the shortest? The shortest one is this tuple, right? Because this tuple has only one item. So when we are doing the zipping, okay, we will run out of item after the first zip. So we grab the first item A, 1 and 2, and that is the first zipped tuple. And after that, we have already run out of the item on this tuple, so the whole zip will finish. Okay, so we end up with only one tuple in this case. Okay, well, after we know the zip, now we can actually build a dictionary using the zip. So we still have those. We are gonna change the list 1 and list 2 into the keys and the values. Okay. So and then after that, we still want to zip them together. But for the keys, I'm using them as the keys in dictionary, and for the values, I'm using them as the values in the dictionary. And the first thing I want to do is I want to zip the keys and the values together. And after that, well, remember, I'm going to use the K. Well, I'm going to use the K and V to visit each pair of the key and value. And then, well, I'm going to create a dictionary, D2, that is an empty pair of the curly braces, but on the fly of this iteration. For each key value pairs I have already zipped together. Now I'm putting the K and V into the dictionary as a key value pair. Okay? So I'm still using the zip, and then I zip all the keys and the values together, and then I'm using this for iteration to visit each of the key value pairs. For each of the key value pairs I'm visiting, and then I'm gonna put them together into the dictionary. So this is how I can zip two sequences together and then make a dictionary from that. Well, for this way, it is fine, but actually there is an easier way. The easier way is, how about we zip the keys and the values, and after that I do a typecasting. I'm casting the zipped key values directly into a dictionary, and then I can have this dictionary. Okay, so this is probably the easiest thing to do. Okay, well, the next thing I want to talk is the in operator. So for the in operator, remember we talked about this in the last lecture. For the in operator, when we are applying that to a dictionary, we only check the members as the keys. Okay, so if we have the inventory as a fruit, and then if you want to check if we have the apples as the key in the inventory, I'm going to have a true because apples is indeed a key in my inventory. And how about cherries? And then cherries is not a key in my dictionary, so I'm going to get a false. Okay, so the next part is, if we want to do a check, we want to check whether we have bananas in my inventory. If we have the bananas in my inventory as a key, and then I can do inventory square bracket, and then I'm using the bananas as a key to grab the corresponding value. And otherwise, if bananas is not a key in my inventory, and then I'm going to print I have no bananas. Okay, so well, it's necessary for us to do this check first, because if we don't want to do the check and then we just throw in a random key to try to get the value, and this key does not exist in our dictionary, and then we are going to have an error, right? Well, if we want to do this way, we don't want to do a check. We directly want to go into the dictionary, and then I want to get the cherries. And then there's no cherry, and then I'm going to have an error. Okay, and well, and to make our lives a little bit easier, if we don't want to always do a check and see if we have such a key before we can really do we can really grab the value using the key. And then last lecture we also talked about the get. So the get is if we want to do a inventory, which is a dictionary name, and then dot get using a key. If this key exists in the dictionary, I'm gonna have the corresponding value. For example, the value of how many apples do I have. Or if we want to get cherries, and then I don't really have cherries, in this case, well, we say get is a safe way to grab the value, because if there's such a key, we grab the value, otherwise I'm gonna have a none, right? So that's the reason we are saying get is a safe way. Okay, so I guess this video is already long enough, and let me stop here and I will continue in the next video.